Revit is an amazing BIM software. It makes the whole process of architecture, structure, and construction infinitely more efficient. But let's be honest, it's looking kind of boring and it's looking kind of ugly. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually make Revit look good by showing you 3 different presentation styles. We're going to be creating a clear presentation style, a conceptual presentation style, and finally a realistic presentation style. Let's go. No time to explain, we're right here in Revit and this is the first one. So this will be the clear presentation style, this is our conceptual presentation style, and finally this is going to be the realistic one. So let's start off with the clear one. Step number 1 is to make sure that the shadows are off and you want to be here in the coarse level of detail. Now you also want to make sure that you have a presentation style for your walls that corresponds with the coarse level of detail. You do this by selecting any of the wall families, going to Edit Type, and then here you want to set up the graphics to set the coarse scale fill pattern to solid fill. So just set it up here to solid fill. And then for the scale fill color, you want to go with some light gray. Once you set this up and click OK, you're going to have this presentation style where when you're in coarse, it's going to have these gray walls and it's going to pop out a lot better. Now, if I switch to medium, as you can see, we lose that. So we're just going to be sticking here with coarse. Now, the next thing is, of course, the families. Here, I'm using my minimalistic families from the architecture design template that's available on balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link it up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video. This is an amazing template that we have developed to do exactly this. So see here how the chair is just a chair and the table is just a table, and the sofa here is just a sofa. This coffee table is just a coffee table. It's very simple. The idea is that you don't want your clients to be impressed by the cool sofa family you have. For this stage of the project, you only want to show off kind of the main layout of the project, and these families are perfect for that. So this is the presentation style for being very clear, very straightforward. This is what you want. Now here, I just want to show you one thing, and that has to do with the fact that here we have different floors for kind of the main living area and entrance, and then here we have the tiles on this side. Now that creates this line, which is kind of ugly. I don't want to see it. So a good way to avoid this is to use the line work tool over here to hide it a little bit. Now I still wanted to show, I just wanted to show a bit less. So we do this by going first here to the Manage tab, then we go to Additional Settings, and here let's go to Line Styles. Now I'm just going to create a new line style, and let's call this one the gray style, and I'm just going to click OK. And for this one, I'm just going to set the color to this light gray. I might make it a bit darker like this. Click OK. Click Apply, OK, and we're done. The next step is going to be to go here to the Modify tab and then click on the Line Work tool. Now here we can pick out our gray style which we have created, zoom in, and then click on this line and it's going to turn it gray. Now I actually want to move this in by dragging this point up to here so it doesn't make the rest of this line gray. And then I want to repeat that here, and I'm just going to move this one there like so, and yeah, make this gray as well. Okay, now it's looking a lot better. Now I can just hit the escape key a couple of times, and as you can see, now we have that differentiation between the tiles and the wooden floor, but it's not too pronounced, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, now it's the next step. We're moving to the conceptual floor plan design. Here, of course, the shadows are on and it's looking a lot more detailed, and we're going to do this by using some high quality realistic families. This is now where you want to show how would it feel to be inside of this interior through the floor plan, and we do that through these very realistic families. Now these families are available on balkanarchitect.com. I'm going to link that up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video. We offer some really high quality, really realistic families that are made to do exactly this. They're made to create these extremely realistic floor plans, 3D views, and so on. We have many different families for furniture, people, cars, planting, trees, and so on. So in this case, what we do is we basically replace these simple families with these highly realistic families, and it's immediately going to make everything feel a bit more kind of exaggerated in terms of the realism and the quality. You also want to dress it up a little bit, so even though planting is not something that's really necessary for a floor plan, you want to add that because it's going to make it feel a bit more warmer, it's going to make it feel a bit more alive. Also these human figures, so I have one walking up the stairs, and then I have this one here kind of walking through the through this hallway. That's really good to add that kind of liveliness to the floor plan. You want to make it all pop and you want to make it feel alive. And we do this by using these high quality realistic families and by adding people, adding plants. If it's a, let's say, a site plan, you want to add some cars, some trees, and so on. Now here we also make it a lot more alive and a lot more interesting by using patterns and using hatches. For example, for this floor, you can see I'm using this wood fill pattern, and the idea is if I go here to edit type and then go to structure, click on edit, and then let's check out the material. So here for the material, you'll notice that under graphics, I've set up this pattern. So it's the wood board white. It's a model pattern. It's this one. And then I've set up the color to be this light gray. I want the pattern to show, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. I don't want it to eat up the rest of my floor plan. So you set it up as this light gray color, and I basically did the same here for these tiles, and it's going to look a lot better. It's going to look a lot more lively. Now here for the outside, you may be thinking, well, how do you achieve this kind of pattern effect? It looks really nice. It makes the whole floor plan pop. So how do we actually create this pattern over here? So this is actually a floor. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the edge here. So this is a floor. Now if I right click when I select it and then go to override graphics and view by element, here you can see the override that I've applied in order to get this effect. So I've just applied this concrete pattern, and then I used this kind of I don't know which color this is, but I've used that color. And then for the background pattern, so background surface pattern, I used a solid fill, but I just used a little lighter version of the same color. And the end result is this, what we have here, which is this really cool kind of pattern that gives a nice background to our floor plan. Looks really nice, and yeah, it's a really good solution. And that's how you achieve this conceptual floor plan effect. Now, finally, let's move to the rendering floor plan, and this is what we have for that. So as you can see, here we have the same kind of human figures walking about. We have the same plant. We have that highly realistic furniture families, and this has been rendered in a 3D floor plan to give the maximum effect. So again, we're using those same high quality families from balkanarchitect.com, but now we are rendering this floor plan. So here, if I go to the project browser and open up this 3D floor plan view, you can see that this is basically a 3D realistic floor plan view. But let me show you how this is done. So I'm just going to go to the 3D view here, and I'm actually going to delete this one, and let's go to the floor plan view like so. So this is what we have. And this is how you create a 3D perspective floor plan rendering in Revit. So you start off with a floor plan, you then go here to the camera view and just create a camera view like so. It's going to create that camera view. Perfect. Then you want to go to the view cube, right click and go to orient to view. Then you go to floor plans and click on level 1 floor plan. And that's going to look like this. Looks like there's nothing really here, and that's fine. So what you want to do here is now just check what's going on. So here we do seem to have this section box. So let's actually scroll down to the south elevation and see the section box is here. I'm actually just going to extend it below a little bit and then off to the sides if necessary. Next, we want to go back to our 3D view and now let's go to the properties and see what's going on here. So here we can see that we have the far clip active and a far clip offset, and this may be limiting what we see. So if I just uncheck that and hit apply, as you can see, now we're actually seeing our building. Now it might not look very good, so let's select the frame of this camera, go into this south elevation, and now we can see, oh, okay, the camera is all the way up here. So now I'm just going to bring it in a lot closer, something like that, I think. Okay, this seems to look okay. Now let's go back to the camera view and see what that looks like, and as you can see, it's looking a lot better, and this is what we want. So this is now almost ready. We can see that it's not really cutting through the windows, so we need to adjust our section box a little bit more. So select the section box here, and then go to south elevation, and then just bring it down a little bit like so. Then go back to the 3D view and see what that looks like. And now, as you can see, it's cutting through the windows properly. And once we have this, now it's just a matter of starting the rendering. Just click RR, that's the shortcut for rendering. And here for rendering, I like to set it up to medium. This is just affecting the quality in terms of reflections and lighting, and you don't really have to go crazy, especially for floor plans. So don't go too high, don't go too best, it's going to take forever. Just go to medium. Then for the size, this is where you want to make it a bit larger. So I actually like to go with 300 dpi or even 600 dpi to make it as large as possible. So here about 3500 pixels is going to be fine. And then yeah, I think that should be it. Just hit render. And this is the result that we get. Now, I do like to make a few kind of post-production adjustments. So you go here to adjust exposure. I like to make it a tad bit brighter. Then shadows, just make it as light as possible. Hit apply. Okay, it's looking better, perhaps a bit darker. Okay, like that. Then for saturation, I'm just going to make it a bit more grayish. And then for the white point, I'm going to make it a bit more warmer. Hit apply, and this is the effect, and this is my kind of preferred settings for renderings. And then you can simply save that rendering to the project, name it, and click OK. And now that's saved. So those were the 3 presentation styles inside of Revit. So hopefully I have shown you that you can actually make Revit a lot more fun and a lot more interesting. Now, as I said, all of these families and the templates are available on balkanarchitect.com. The link is going to be up in the cards above and also down in the description of this video. And also, I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, this is something that's really when it comes to presentation. So this is for kind of early stage design development and creating some really nice client presentations, or this can be really good for student projects. Of course, in the whole kind of BIM system, you're not focusing on how things look, you're focusing on the data side a lot more. But I want to show that Revit can actually be fun and exciting, and that's why I like to create these types of videos as well. And finally, shout out to the channel Show It Better for the inspiration for this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.